Hello, hello, educators first. I am Maria Bigliardi, and I am a kinship coach. I have a program that helps kinship families navigate the unique challenges of kinship care, along with providing direction and guidance for healing so that they can find joy on their journey, and that these kinship kiddos and families can be sent out into adulthood, into the world as happy, healthy, well-adjusted adults, given everything that they've been through. I presented here on Monday about what kinship is, and I am here today to follow up on that and answer any questions that you may have. And I just really appreciate this opportunity to present to this community. You all are awesome in what you are doing for so many children out in the world. You are shaping so many lives and having a huge impact on them. Hey, Mallory. Thank you for having me. So if you have any questions, be sure to post them in the comments below. I will certainly address those. And just on Monday, I talked about what you can do to be able to connect with the parents, the kinship caregivers. And I wanted to follow up today a little bit on just how you could connect with the children in general. Okay, I have a comment coming in here. So Mallory says, questions about how to address the student and their situation without pushing them too far. So that ties right in with how to connect with them in general. So remember that these children, even foster care children, I mean, this is going to apply across the board, kids that aren't living at home with mom and dad. School is not a focus for them. And I feel like the biggest thing is just understanding the whole dynamics of the situation. So know that school is not really a focus for them. They are in survival mode. And, you know, they're in foster care or kinship care due to oftentimes neglect, and they are in survival mode. So I know as educators, you want them to make school a priority. You know that this is what they're going to need to be successful when they get out into the world. But just having an understanding that for them, they're in survival mode, and being able to meet them where they are is going to be huge for them. Know that there will be trust issues. They've been they've been betrayed, so to speak, by some of the people they should have been able to trust the most. And they're going to have trust issues with other adults. So keep that in mind. So when they're being disrespectful or distant or disruptive, it's not you. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just all of the things that they're going through. It comes out in ways that aren't always the best. And you just have to know that it's not anything that you're lacking, and it's not your fault. It's just a tough situation that they're in. So don't take it personal and try to be understanding. I know you have all sorts of other children coming around that you are trying to take care of as well. So there is a balance that has to be done there. But as far as pushing them too far, let's see. Let me make sure I address this question correctly. So, address the situation without pushing them too far. Mallory, I think that's just building trust with the student, letting them know that even when they have the disruptive behavior and their behavior is unlovable, because oftentimes that's how they feel, they're unlovable, they're not enough. So let them know when they have that behavior that obviously it's not okay, but you still care and you still want to connect. And because their behavior is disruptive, it doesn't mean that another adult is going to let them down. So just building that relationship back and forth and letting them know that you're there for them, even when they're quiet trying to hide in the back, or even when they're disruptive. Just talking to them, just even simply saying, hey, how was your week? Starting out, that they may not want to talk about what's going on at home, but just having an adult connect with them and giving them a voice. I know in my home, my little nephew said that kids didn't matter. Adults didn't listen to kids. They didn't care what they had to say. So we just started talking to him about things and listening to him and getting his opinion on stuff. And once you build that relationship with them, just over time, just little bit by little bit, small baby steps, then you may get to the point to where they do start opening up and sharing with you. But outside of just saying, hey, what's going on? They may not open up to you the first time or the 10th time. But just being consistent with them and showing them they have somebody on their side who isn't going away, who isn't taking their behavior and holding it against them. You will build that up, and then they will start opening up to you over time. But you have to have that relationship first. They're not just going to open up. So build first. And then if you have the opportunity to ask them more about what's going on, I would definitely go that route. But it's really important. It may be years and they never tell you what's going on. But just having somebody who they know cares and who's consistently cared is huge for them. They will never forget that. Let's see what other questions. Mallory, I hope that answered that for you. Let's see what other questions we have coming in. So You don't want to sound nosy, but you do want to let the student know that you're there for them. I think that goes back to what I just said. I think that answers that question too. Just small talk, asking their opinion. Don't necessarily bring up the situation at home when it comes to the student, but just giving them space to be able to let their voice be heard and to let them know that somebody cares about what kids have to say. They're not just somebody in the background. Just letting their little voices be heard and letting them know that their opinion is valuable. That is huge. And then once you get that built, you can be a little nosy. If they're not comfortable talking to you about it, you'll know. They'll shut down. And you know, okay, that's too far. Once you hit that point, don't go any further. Save that for another day as you just keep building this up with them. All right. How to best support the family when we don't have a ton of time during the school day. Ooh, that is a huge one. I think just being in contact with the family. And I know that a 5-minute conversation probably doesn't feel like it's a lot. I know for me, a 5-minute conversation with somebody doesn't feel like I've done them a service. But for families who feel so alone in this, even a 5-minute conversation, just connecting with them and letting them know that there is somebody there is absolutely huge to support them. I know you can't share what other families are going through, specifics with other families, but assuring them that they're not the only ones in this situation, letting them know that they are definitely not alone. This is not a unique situation. And telling them there are others and encouraging them to go out and find support will get the wheels turning, and they will start to realize, well, okay, if the teachers are saying, or the educators are saying, this is a problem or a situation that they're seeing more and more of, and I'm not alone in this, and there's no embarrassment or shame around this, because that's how a lot of families feel. They're embarrassed by the situation. They feel guilty. They've done something wrong. And it's not the caregivers at all that have done anything wrong. So just a 5-minute conversation, connecting with them and letting them know that there are others out there is huge for them. That will be a connection for them that you will be able to maintain. Like, they're always going to start looking to you now and wanting to connect with you because they feel like you care. Just letting them know that you care is huge. Even the same thing with the kids. I know we're talking about adults and children here, but really a lot of the same things the adults are going through, the children are going through too. And basically it's just letting somebody know that there are people out there who care about what they're going through, and they are not alone. We need that connection. Okay. So Anna says, how can I support the student without getting too attached? It's hard not to bring these students home with us. Absolutely. I feel like it's a lot of mindset work and just shifting your mindset and accepting that you are doing everything you can. So you have your student in your class, you take a few minutes to connect with them, to see how they're doing. And even if they don't respond and they turn their back to you, you've made that connection. Know that you are doing everything you can. And know that those little steps that don't seem like much to you are adding up and making a huge difference in the kids' lives. So, a few minutes of connecting, it just really adds up for the children. And accepting that you're doing everything you can when you do that, because you can't shoulder this burden. You are a piece of the puzzle, and there's a whole team that needs to come around these families. And you are a very important piece of that puzzle. And just taking a few minutes to connect with a child, a few minutes to connect with the caregivers, and telling yourself, I'm doing everything I can, knowing that it's going to add up and make a difference. Don't feel like it has to be a grand gesture at all. It doesn't have to be anything big. But to them, it's going to feel so big. So big. Connecting with them and then leaving it at school. So at school, your job is to connect with them and know that then when they go home, you turn it over to somebody else. It's their job from there. So what are some ways that we can build trust with the students? If you have the opportunity in your classrooms to get some input from the students and let them help make some decisions. So even if it's, what do you think we should draw today in our spare time? Or what's a game you think we should play in recess? Just little decisions like that. Giving them a voice and letting them know that they are important goes a long ways to building that trust. When they're acting out or when they're being quiet, letting them know that you see them and just connecting for 2 or 3 minutes. Asking them how their day was. I think it's important to ask, what has been good today? What have you enjoyed about today? But also flipping that and saying, well, did anything upset you today? And then you're not necessarily being nosy or feel like you're being nosy, but you're opening the door for that conversation to begin. You're saying, hey, I see you. Did anything upset you today? I'm here and I really want to know. I'm taking the time out and I really want to know. And they may not talk to you about it, but just continuing with that, it will certainly build up that trust. It's all about giving them a voice and letting them know that they are important. It's all about that. Okay. see what other questions. Yes, Mallory. I know we want to take it personal. That's just in our nature as educators and even as parents, as caregivers. We want to take it personal when we want to take on that load. But there's a lot of things going on inside their heads that really has nothing to do with us. So when they don't respond the way we expect them to, we have to have that disconnect and just go ahead and tell yourself repeatedly over and over that it is not your fault and it is not about you. It's not about something that you've done. Yes, Mallory, that is awesome. It's not okay what you did, but I still care about you even though I don't like what you did. I'm not going to let you down. That is a message that they all need. And even if you don't think they're hearing it loud and clear, and being consistent with that message will get results. So Anna says, if I have a hard time working with a student and don't know how to support them, who should I talk to in the school for guidance? For sure, go to your guidance counselor. Go to your counselor, let them know the situation you're seeing. Oftentimes, they may know a little bit more about what's going on at home. So definitely connect with your counselor. They will also know some resources that the families can use. So they're an excellent resource to go to. Your counselors for sure will give you some great advice. Yes, Anna, given the students an opportunity to have control over their choices will have an impact like you wouldn't believe, because many of them have never had that opportunity. Things have been decided for them. Life has happened to them instead of them living their life. Life has just happened to them, and they've had to be along for the ride. And when they get that opportunity to have some control over their choices, they just really start to open up and blossom. I know we have seen that here in our home with things that have happened, and letting my nephew know that he does have a choice and he's allowed to give his opinion. His opinion, the choice may not always go the way his opinion thinks it should. But to see how just giving him the opportunity to share his opinion has boosted his confidence, and the growth that it has caused for him is outstanding. It is absolutely impressive. And I see that with so many of the ladies that I work with in my program as well. So I don't see any more questions coming in. And I don't know that I have anything else anything else as well. I guess 2 more things that I will point out. Be flexible. Again, school is not their main focus. They're in survival mode. So try to be flexible when it comes to due dates. It's when they're already struggling with confidence, and more than likely they're struggling with poor grades. Having somebody hound on them about a due date it often pushes them away, and you may never see that assignment. So be understanding, be flexible, and again, at the end of the day, just remember your job is what you do when they're with you. When they go home, it's somebody else's job to take over from there. So give yourself a break. Have you some self-care. Pick it back up when you go back to school the next day. So Mallory, yes, thank you for asking about my program. It is a program where I work intensively for 6 months with these families to help them find healing from all of the trauma that they've been through, and to help them find joy and navigate all the unique challenges that they're going to face, and help them with their mindset shift, because everybody's in a new situation, and it's not a situation that they've been in before. It's new, and even good change is stressful. So I help them just navigate that change and be able to really step into their new role confidently, so that they can model that for the children, and they can model making better decisions and coping with the trauma and coping with the difficult emotions that they're going to face, so that they can go into adulthood happy and healthy, mentally healthy and confident. And what it's really all about is breaking that cycle, because quite often trauma begets trauma. So they get stuck in this loop where they've been in kinship care and they've had trauma, and then when they have children, those children wind up in kinship care or foster care with trauma, and it just keeps repeating. So we are here to break that cycle. We're here to end that cycle for these kids and these families, and that's just what it's all about. It's all about the children and helping these families get where they need to be and not feel like they're alone. So that is all I have for you today. If there is anything else, please just put it in the comments below, and I will be sure to get to your questions. And I will also put in the comments below the link for my group that I have, Kinship Mamas Community. And that is a great resource for you to share with any family that you know is in this situation. They'll come in and we'll just love on them and help them navigate this whole journey that they're on now. Thank you again for letting me present in your group. It is such an honor, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.